Hello everyone, my name is Rafael Hamonangan and I am from 2025 English Literature, and today I'm gonna make a speech about metrics that the title is Redefining the Source of Instability in the Middle East. So let's begin. When you see the news about conflicts in the Middle East popping up on your social media feed, what do you actually see? Do you see the whole story behind it? Or are you just seeing the final explosion or a fuse that has been burning for decades? It is very easy to look at a single headline and blame one country for all the chaos. But as university students, we need to look past at the surface and examine the real root causes the problem. The main point I want to make today is simple. Lasting peace in the Middle East is impossible as long as there is a military occupation and aggressive border expansion. These actions do not protect anyone. They just force neighboring countries into dangerous defense cycles that keep the region trapped in endless war. Today, I will prove this by looking at powerful historical parallel, explaining how years of economic blockades forced countries to become defensive, and showing why we cannot talk about armed groups without looking at the conditions that create them. To understand why this region stays unstable, we first have to look at what happens when a powerful military normalizes the practice of attacking first. When a country constantly launches unilateral strikes and calls it self-defense, it completely destroys the security of its neighbors. This creates a dangerous trap. Neighboring countries are left with no diplomatic options, forcing them to either surrender completely or build up their own asymmetric military force just to survive. In his speech at the Oxford Union, scholar Ataullah Mohajirani used a great historical example to explain this. He compared modern military overreach in the region to the aggressive expansion of Napoleonic France back in the 19th century. Napoleon constantly invaded other borders, claiming it was a preemptive measure to keep France safe, but history showed us the truth. Constant external war was just a strategy that shattered European peace. The exact same thing is happening today. True stability cannot exist alongside ongoing military occupation. The second mistake people make when analyzing this conflict is judging a country's defense actions while completely ignoring the years of pressure they have faced. If you want to understand why a country acts like the way it does, you have to look at what it's reacting to. For decades, countries that resisted outside control in the Middle East have been hit with crushing economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and targeted campaigns meant to break them down. When a society is put under a multi-generational siege, its defense system will naturally become highly rigid, controlled, and aggressive. As Muhajirani pointed out, despite facing this extreme punishment for decades, these nations are still standing. Their military setup is built for basic national survival, not for random aggression. Now, critics will immediately look at the metrics and ask, what about the non-state armed groups? What about the factions like Hezbollah, Hamas, or the Houthis? Aren't they the ones destroying states and causing the violence? But blaming proxy groups without looking at the structural problems that create them is like treating a symptom while ignoring the disease. Asymmetric arms factions do not appear out of nowhere. They are direct historical results of political vacuums, civilian suffering, and deep grievance caused by their decades of military occupation and blocked diplomatic paths. You cannot separate the rise of these resistant groups from the fact that there is no fair, internationally respected peace framework. If you only condemn the reaction without fixing the root cause, the cycle of violence will never end. To wrap it up, If we want a stable world, we have to stop relying on oversimplified good guy versus bad guy media stories. We need to face the facts. True peace cannot coexist with occupation. As students, we have a responsibility to reject simple social media algorithms. We must demand an international framework that holds powerful state actors accountable to the exact same laws of international justice as everyone else. Stability in the Middle East will never be achieved through superior weapons or absolute containment walls. It can only be built on mutual respect for sovereignty, international law, and equal justice for all people. The very first step is having the honesty to name the true structural drivers of the conflicts. Thank you.